Let's call this meeting of the Town of Sheffield Select Board to order for March 15th, 2021. We have all three selectmen on the meeting tonight, Martin Mitzoff, Bob Kilmer, and Renee Wood. We also have Town Administrator Rhonda Bombard and her assistant, Jill Hughes. Do we have CTSB on the call?
Yes.
We do.
Great. Thank you for recording this. This meeting is being recorded. Anyone may record the meeting. Also, just please inform the chair before doing so. So, we have approval of meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
This is Martin. I'll make a motion that we approve the February 23rd executive session meeting minutes, March 1st working meeting minutes, as written.
Second.
Okay, wonderful. Any discussion?
I'm good.
All right. Roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. All right, the next thing we have is we have three public hearings coming up on National Grid and Verizon installation of...
Susan Weinstein.
Thank you for joining us, Susan. Installation of utility poles. We're going to take these in order, and is the person for National Grid to present the application. Then I'll ask for board members' comments or questions. Then I'll ask for public input. Then we'll close each hearing, and we'll decide each hearing before going on to the next one. So is there a representative from National Grid and Verizon present?
This is Steve Hayward from National Grid. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Steve. Are you going to be presenting all of the three petitions for the installation of the utility poles?
Yes, I will be.
Okay, so let's start off with the request that's for 7 o'clock that ends in 6137, and that's on Bow Wow Road. Would you please present this to the board?
Right, so Steve Hayward, National Grid. We are looking to install, for this work order, 6 new poles along Bow Wow Road. And the reason for this is because we are going to be upgrading our electrical infrastructure, and some of these existing poles are just very far apart from each other. So we are looking to break that span by installing poles in between them.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
This is Martin. I'm
Not at this point.
Okay, so Bob doesn't have any. How about Martin?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. Public, is there any public input or questions, comments?
Yes, Bonnie Silvers, 15 Bow Wow Road.
Can I have paper?
Go ahead.
My question is, where are the poles going, and are any of the old poles being removed?
Did you say your address is 115 Bow Wow Road?
No, just plain ordinary 15.
Well, as an abutter, I believe you should have gotten a little package that has the approximate locations of all the poles, but also
No, I didn't.
Week, that's interesting. But also last week I was out and I put in their red and white stakes all throughout the for all of these, but they're out there. So if you are in a butter and you see that stake outside of your property, then that would be where the new poles would go. And the old poles, they will not be removed, but some of them will be replaced.
Thank you.
Question. This is Cynthia Heller. I'm at 252 Bow Wow, right across from the farm. I did not get a packet with any information. All I got was a postcard with the phone number for this meeting. And I'm a weekend person. I haven't been out in about 6 weeks, so I haven't seen any red and white stakes anywhere. I'm curious if the poles are going to be on my property or across the street at the farm. I haven't received any maps or any, I think you said there was a packet of information. I didn't receive that, just this little postcard.
This is Barry Kreisberg at 322 Bow Wow Road. We as well did not receive any packet or map or anything besides that same postcard that was mentioned. So we don't have an idea of what the location of these poles would be.
Me too. Susan Weinstein at 184. I didn't get a packet either, but I do see the red and white pole.
All right, so I'm going to interrupt this for a moment. Is National Grid, are you required to send packets of information to abutters?
I don't believe that we are required to send those packets to abutters. It's most likely a misunderstanding on my part. I know we send that information to the town. I wasn't sure whether or not that got forwarded to the abutters.
So, Rhonda, do you have any sense of this? I mean, I'm getting the sense that there are a stream of abutters on Bow Wow who may have gotten a postcard letting them know that there was going to be a public hearing tonight, but have please, just a moment, have not had a chance to see any information. Are you aware, was anything afforded to the town, or are you aware if they have to send a packet to abutters?
Normally the way it is they've sent the application to the town, and we send the abutters the postcard.
Okay, so the postcard is all they get.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Somebody has some awful Renee, should we ask everybody to mute? Somebody has some background noise that's making it very difficult.
I'm sorry, we're here, Ted Dobson and Anna Mack, but
Okay, so first of all, everybody, please mute your phone, or unless you're going to speak, because there's background information that's keeping the rest of us from hearing what's going on, okay? So I, myself, have never been in a hearing for a pole installation where we have had so many people who don't know what's going on. Rhonda, do you have any comments on this? I'm almost thinking I want to postpone this hearing until people have got a chance to go out and look at where these poles are going to be installed. Do you have any comments, Rhonda? And then I'm going to ask the rest of the board members.
So my comment would be to Steve. Can he not explain the location of the changes that are going to take place?
Well, I think he said that they've been marked, but I'm hearing that people don't even know where they're going.
True. I see them. I can see them. I'm at 184. That's across from me.
Okay. Have other people on Bow Wow had a chance to get out and see these? And
I have Anna Mack.
Yes? Okay.
I have, there's two out front of my house, but I don't know what they're for. And I had a couple of questions because they're right by water or brooks that take water over to the pond. So if they're putting a pole there, if the transformer falls, which it has on other parts of my property, it's going to go right into the waterway.
Steve, do you have comments?
Yes, I do. So that is good input. And on all of these poles, there are no plans to install transformers. The reason is because we're going to be upgrading that conductor at the very top. And that's just going to be, it's going to have more weight and more sag. And so that sag can kind of just droop. So we're looking to eliminate that by installing these new poles.
And so it'll just be a piece of wood to hold up the sag.
Correct.
Okay. Like, that wasn't explained, so I didn't know if it was odd.
Okay, do we have any other comments from the public?
Yes, this is Barry
Yes,
Kreisberg.
I think it's a great idea because that's where it sags. I'm at 184, and I see it, when we've had problems with the wind and all. So I think it's a good idea.
Okay, yeah, well, that makes sense. That if it's helping with sag, I thought they were putting up a whole other pole with other components.
Okay, Barry, would you like to make your comment?
I just would like to ask, are these poles going to be the same, type of wooden, quote-unquote, telephone poles? We know they're utility poles, but is it the same height, the same girth? Are these standard telephone poles? Wooden.
Yes, they're going to be very similar to the ones that you already see out there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And it's Cynthia Heller again. I just haven't been out in a few weeks because I've had other trips. I just, if someone could just describe to me which side of the road they're on, I would be okay.
The other side, Cynthia. The other side.
Okay, thanks, Susan. That's all I wanted to know. Thanks. I can't tell from out without being out there.
So,
Okay, Bonnie, did you have
Barry
any other
again.
questions?
Just one last question.
Yes, I just went out, walked around here, and there are no poles here.
Bonnie,
Okay,
they're
so
considerably
you're-
further away. It's where
Yeah.
the plow curves around and starts to head north and south as opposed to east and west. Where
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Bonnie. Barry, you had another comment?
Just if somebody seems to know the locations of these well enough that they could describe. So on the whole open portion on the farm side of the road, how many poles are there? I mean, all these poles will stay on that side, the farm side of the road, because at some point the poles
There's 6 of them on
Steve, can you answer that?
There's 6 on Ted's side of the road. In front of his farm, there's 6 poles. I counted them.
on the farm side.
There's 6. Plus 2 in front of my house property. So there's 8 total for the farm.
Steve, are the 6 that we're talking about now, or that's Anna, are they on the farm side? Because I think we're only talking about 6 poles. We have another.
Yeah, they start at Susan's house on the farm side, and then they go down Ted's field, and then down a couple into the woods, and then it stops. And then there's 2 in front of my house, but none further down past 489.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, may I have a motion to close this public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Aye.
Renee? Aye. So we're a little bit behind schedule already, but let's decide this. The board members, do you wish to grant this permit for installation of the utility poles as described? I think it was 6. Is that correct, Steve, on Bow Wow Road?
Yes, 6.
Yeah, this is Martin. I think we've answered most of the questions of the public that were concerned, and I would make a motion that we approve the installation of 6 utility poles on Bow Wow Road with the identification ending in 6137.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this permit? If not, let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. All right, so I'm going to open the public hearing for National Grid and Verizon, and this permit application ends with 6155. And again, I have this listed as installation of utility poles on Bow Wow Road. So, Steve, would you explain what this one is about?
So Steve Harrow, National Grid. This is just for 2 additional poles on Bowell Road. I believe the abutter at 439 has spoken, and that these 2 are in front of her property. And it's for the same reasons as the last petition. It's just these work packets are broken up into groups.
Okay, and this would be purposefully the same type of pole as is currently there, and it is to take up the slope. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any? Are there any select board questions on this?
I have none. The only thing I would add, this is Martin. So these are much closer to what is Bay Lane off of Bow Wow Road.
Correct.
Okay. Martin, do you have any other questions?
No, thank you.
Bob, do you have any questions?
No.
Is there any public input or questions on this application? Okay, then I'd like a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion on this? Otherwise, let's take a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. Does the board wish to grant this petition for 2 poles on on Bow Wow Road? That petition ends with 16126. 16155.
So moved. This is Martin.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Otherwise, roll call vote on approval. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. All right, I'd like to open the 3rd public hearing. This is another petition from National Grid and Verizon. This petition ends in 16126. It's the installation of utility poles on Bears Den Road. Steve, you're representing this petition also?
That is correct.
Okay, would you please explain it?
Yes. So same situation as last one. So we are requesting to install 2 poles on Bears Den Road. Again, we're going to be upgrading the system out there, and those poles are just going to be to help pick up the sag for the wire that we're going to be installing.
Board members, do you have any questions of Steve?
No.
No.
Are there any public questions or comments? All right, if not, may I have a motion to close this public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you for the dog. Let's go ahead and decide, select board, or do you wish to grant this approval to install the 2 utility poles on Bears Den Road? And if so, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Let's have a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. Okay, thank you, everyone. Let's move on to number 5. This is action regarding the release of executive session minutes for 2/3. That must have been 2020, I believe. Rhonda, can you bring us up to date on this?
Sure. So this was February 3rd of 2020. It was an executive session regarding rest of river. There was an open meeting law complaint filed against the board regarding that meeting. And the determination was that while the content of the meeting was fine to be held in executive session, there was a problem with the detail on the meeting notice and in the announcement. And so the Attorney General has ordered that we release the executive session minutes for February 3rd.
Okay. This is just a little over a year ago. We need a motion on this to do it, or do we just do it because the Attorney General has ordered it?
I would make a motion, Renee.
Okay. Could I have a motion from either Bob or Martin on this matter?
Yeah, this is Martin. I'll make a motion that we release the 3 sets of executive session minutes held back in February, March of last year.
No. It's just one set of minutes,
I'm
Martin.
sorry. I amend that to one set of minutes from an executive session meeting last year at the direction of the Attorney General's office, as discussed.
And those minutes are for February 3rd, 2020.
Yes.
Okay, great. Bob, is there a second?
I think I should abstain from this, seeing, excuse me, and seeing how I wasn't involved with the.
Okay, great. I think that's good. I'll second it. Martin, is there any discussion on this?
No.
Okay, otherwise, let's go ahead and take a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Renee, aye. Bob?
Abstain.
I want to say abstain. Okay, great. All right, our next item deals with another application regarding a firefighter. This is terrific. Martin, would you like to lead us through this?
Sure. So the volunteer hose company received an application from a gentleman by the name of Hank Urban. This is from February of 2021, seeking to become a member of the volunteer fire department. He has 2 references, existing firefighters, as well as his application having been reviewed and approved by the hose company's Vigilant Committee, Nick Ball and Bob Behan. He's provided a complete application package. This would be for a probationary firefighter.
Okay, would you like to make a motion?
I make the motion that we approve the application of one Hank Urban to become a probationary firefighter, subject to a quarry review by the town.
Second.
Is there a second? Okay, there is a second. Any discussion? Okay, let's have a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. Terrific. Is this the 7th new member? Martin, I'm just trying to keep
I've
count.
lost track. There have been so many of them. It's wonderful.
This is really, this is terrific. Okay, our next item on the agenda is just a discussion regarding town meeting date. Rhonda, do you want to start that, or do you want me to?
Sure, I can. So traditionally, the date for the town meeting would be May 3rd of this year, but I wanted the board to have a conversation on whether they felt comfortable going ahead with that date or whether there were thoughts for a delay.
Either Martin or Bob.
This is Martin. I think provided that we can take the precautions that we did at our last town meeting with regard to the use of the school auditorium and possibly the school gymnasium, and take the appropriate precautions with regard to social distancing and face coverings. If we can accommodate all of that easily enough before May 3rd, I would like to go with the May 3rd meeting.
I would second that.
So my question would be, we've got about 45 days on this, I think. I haven't seen anything come out that even gives us the right from the governor's office to have a meeting in a closed facility. Have you, Martin? I know you follow this COVID-19 quite closely, more so than the rest of us do. Have you seen anything that gives us that right?
I haven't seen anything specifically that gives us that right, but I will look into that and report back to the board.
Okay. the other thing that I was thinking, which I'm not, I'm just throwing this out there as an idea, is I know that there's a number of meetings that are now being held on Saturdays, so that they can start earlier in the day and be held in outdoor space. I know that there's been tents rented that I believe would be covered under our care money, but I also know that Great Barrington, I believe, has held one or two meetings where basically people are in their car and they come up to a microphone and the meeting is broadcast over a radio station, and I believe I can't think of the supplier's name on those little electronic devices that we used at our last meeting so successfully, but I believe he has told us that those would work under that circumstance. So I'm just throwing that out there as an idea. If we cannot meet in a closed facility, that might be another way to do this sooner than later, rather than pushing it off until who knows when, the end of the month or so.
I agree. So sounds like we have a little bit of homework to do. Maybe we take this up at our next select board meeting.
Okay. I think also, we got a lot of feedback from residents rather late in the game, after we had already planned to have the town meeting, which we were allowed to do. Let me rephrase that. After we had planned to hold the town meeting at the high school properly spaced, which we were allowed to do, we got a lot of feedback. So I think if there's going to be feedback, even though we haven't decided on anything yet, I myself would certainly appreciate it sooner than later, because I know, while we're getting a lot of shots taken care of, I know that people still do have concerns, and I respect those. So, all right, well, let's continue to think about this, and let's take it up at our next meeting. Rhonda or Bob or Martin, did you have anything to add before we move on?
No, thank you.
Nope.
No.
Okay. Well, our town election will be on the 10th of May. I haven't heard anything that's going to change that. I just don't know that Phyllis knows whether there's going to be early voting or quite what. Have you heard anything on that, Rhonda?
I have not, but I can check with her and we can follow up at the next meeting.
Okay. All righty. So let's move on. We'll continue that discussion. We've got it out on the table. Discussion, possible action regarding future reopening of town meetings. Martin is our COVID-19 person. Would you like to make any initial comments on this?
No, not at this time.
Okay. I do think that Kathy had sent around an email that they have been, it has been suggested by Elder Services, and I don't think she's heard anything officially about opening up. Bob, do you have any comments?
Not at this time.
Rhonda?
So I have it on the agenda because I think it's a topic that we need to start thinking about. Especially the COA had a meeting last week, and they have asked that the senior center be reopened. And so at some point there has to be conversation around what we think is safe and what you want to do.
Well, yeah, I think that is exactly why this is on here. Personally, before we reopen, I would like to have every staff member who is involved have had an opportunity to receive one or both COVID-19 shots. I think the weather is getting better. I know there were some things that Kathy did last year that separated people so people could kind of get together. But to be honest, I would be looking for some advice from the governor, who has given us some advice, and I would also be looking for advice, particularly on the senior center regarding elder services and the State Department that's involved with senior centers, etc. So, Martin, when you're looking, could you take a peek at this issue too?
I already have, and I've weighed in with Kathy and Rhonda about this as well. And again, the current guidance, both from the CDC and from the Massachusetts state office, is that there will be openings as we get into phase 4, openings of town buildings, as well as restaurants, as well as businesses, et cetera, et cetera. However, the requirement remains for people to wear masks and to keep safely social distance, whether you've been vaccinated or not. And that is really the linchpin of the demand for the senior centers to reopen immediately. I am not in favor of that, and I'm in favor of working with Kathy to determine when it would be best. As you pointed out, Renee, that we need to know whether all town employees, including the 2 employees at the senior center, have been vaccinated or have the opportunity to have been vaccinated and declined to be so vaccinated. That's still an individual's right not to receive the vaccines. But in any case, once that occurs, we are still in the process of social distancing and maintaining face coverings for the safety of everyone involved, because there's no real way to certify that every individual that comes into close proximity to others has in fact been vaccinated, and it's probably a violation of HIPAA for anyone to request that information. That's all I have to add.
Maybe what we should do is set up a conversation with Kathy, so that we do understand her thoughts on this, and that we separate that from the town hall. I know the police department has been open. A library, they make their own decision. I know we have a younger staff in part at the town hall, and I would be surprised if they have had an opportunity to even have an opportunity to get vaccinated.
They have not.
Okay. So let's put this on our next select board agenda, and hopefully by that time we will have had a chance to meet with Kathy and see what else is coming out because I do still trust the CDC now that it seems to be back in business. Is that agreeable to the select board?
Yes.
Yes.
Rhonda, is that okay with you too?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let's move on. We've got a couple of open items here. The next item is action regarding appointment of the planning board alternate member. We did have a candidate, but he has withdrawn his request, and so we are still looking for someone to be a planning board alternate member. Please submit an email to Rhonda's office of your interest. This appointment would run through June 30th of this year, so it's not like you're signing up for 3 or 4 years here. The next item is discussion and possible action on regarding the Police Reform Act, which is really the Criminal Justice Reform Act. Just as way of background on this, I have had a chance, and I'm sure we all have had a chance to hear the chief of police and read in the paper some of this, the repercussions and the impacts of the Criminal Justice Reform Act, which was passed at the very end of last year. Very well-intended act, doing a lot of good in terms of police reform, but it would appear that, number one, there was no funding for the actions that are now being required. The actions themselves are not totally known at this time, but there has been discussion about the implications and the costs of such things as the certifications and trainings that are now going to be required, though they haven't spelled these out completely, as well as all of the paperwork that's going to go along with this. So after my last discussion with the chief, I kind of put this letter together, which he has had a chance to review. And the basic gist of it is to the governor and the lieutenant governor, and then I've kind of copied everyone I can think of. I've added the auditor, the state auditor, Susanna Bump, who is a champion at looking at unfunded mandates, which I think this is, to basically relook at this act and look at the funding implications that are now going to be put upon 351 municipalities. I know the chief also has concerns that with the number of hours of training that are going to be required, that there will be no place for part-time officers within the next 3 to 5 years. So I just brought this forward to the select board because I think it's time to kind of raise the flag and let some people know. Good law, but not well thought out of in terms of who was going to pay for all of this. So that's it. If the board wants to send this or any variation thereof, fine. But it's up to you, you and Martin, Bob and Martin.
Well, I'd make a motion to send the letter as written.
I'll second that for discussion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's discuss it. Martin?
Yeah, the only, as drafted, the only thing I would add is that somebody needs to insert the appropriate police association at the very bottom under the...
Yeah, I'm waiting for the chief on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Otherwise,
And
I'm also good with the letter.
Okay, I've also added, as I said, the state auditor, Susanna Bump.
Perfect.
Okay, so with those corrections, Bob, would you amend your motion to handle those corrections?
So amended.
So
okay,
I have seconded is so amended as well.
Great. So let's do a roll call vote on this, and I'll make the corrections and get them to Jill. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. Thank you very much. So our next one is really fun. I wish those attending could see these photographs. I believe we have a selection of our town cover photos. We always have a lovely photo, either on always on the front, sometimes on the back. Board members, which ones do you like, and which ones would you like to go with?
This is Martin. I got a big sticky on the one I like.
Yeah, we these all came from Joe Kologi. So
right.
Thank you very much, who's also a resident of Bow Wow. So thank you very much, Joe. So there's 5 photos, I think. Martin, which one is yours, front or back? Favorite?
Well, if you page down, you can see Martin's note or vote for annual report. It's the winter scene of a farm with the Taconic Mountain Range in the background.
Okay, it's number 4. Bob, where are you?
Well, seeing how I'm not a big fan of winter, I'm a fan of bovines. I particularly kind of like the fall foliage with the 2 looks like Jersey cows and the mountain in the back.
Oh, we should have known. Joe probably put those cows in there just for you. So, is your front choice number 2 or number 3?
I think that would be number 2.
Okay, and let's just settle out real quickly. Can we go with a back photograph this year, or would the board prefer not to? Just have a plain back. I don't know that it costs any more money, does it, Rhonda?
No.
So you want a back cover, board members?
Sure.
And this
Okay,
is Martin.
well, you
So
can see-
depending upon your decision, Renee, I would amend my first order vote and go with the two bovines in the fall photograph for the cover. And if we want a back cover, we can go with whatever you want. How's that?
Okay, so I think we've got the front cover is the two bovines. I particularly like the next one. I think, which is over the pond. I think they go together so beautifully, and there's a quality of these two photographs that, to me, speaks of a type of photography of a different era. I think they're just, both of these two photographs go together in my mind, and I find them to be even unbelievably charming. Though that was not my first choice for the cover, but I could go with those two. Two as the front and three as the back. Bob, are you good?
Oh, I'm fine with it. Yep.
Martin, are you good?
I'm elated.
Okay, so I would make a motion that we go with the front cover as photograph number 2 in our packet and the back cover as photograph number 3.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. Okay, great. Thank you. It's done. Thank you, Joe, for submitting such exquisite photographs. The next item we have is action regarding resignation of a police officer. Rhonda, could you help us with this, please?
Sure. So we've had Officer Samuel O'Neill for a very short time. He was going into a career as a police officer. He was also an electrical apprentice and has received an offer from his previous employer to go back to electrical work, and that is what he would like to do. So he's thanked us for allowing him to be on the Sheffield Police Department and for our time.
This is Martin. I'll make a motion that we accept Sam O'Neill's letter of resignation without prejudice.
Shall we send him a letter of thanks for his service?
Yes.
Okay, Bob, will you second that too?
Second, yes.
Okay, any further discussion? I know we all wish him well in his career and electrical work. So, Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. Okay, the next item is one that I asked to be put on. We have kind of what it is discussion and possible action regarding a policy for the town administrator to sign grant applications. We kind of go through this almost every time we do a grant, which is frequent. And I just thought maybe it would be good just to make a policy that basically says once a grant application has been approved by the Town of Sheffield Selectboard, the Selectboard authorizes Town of Sheffield's town administrator to sign any grant applications submitted on behalf of the town and any of its departments and operations where the town administrator, that should have an S, signature will be accepted by the grant authority. Sometimes they do require the chair of the select board to sign, but this would allow us to avoid having to send in our minutes every time, showing that we're allowing Rhonda to sign a grant application. So with that one spelling mistake, how does the board feel about this?
I think it's a great idea. Thank you, Renee.
Yeah, I also agree. I think it'd make it a lot more efficient process.
Great. Could we have a motion, please?
This is Martin. I'll make a motion that we approve the Town of Sheffield policy, authorization of the town administrator to sign grant applications on behalf of the select board as read. I don't think it doesn't
Second.
need that typo, but anyway.
Okay, great. Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion, if any?
I have a comment, Renee.
Sure. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't include you, Rhonda.
That's all right. Would you consider adding to formalize the contract once the grant's been signed as well? Because they often
I
come in with short turnaround times.
I think that's great. Board members, how do you feel about that?
This is
I agree.
Martin, if you're in favor, would you just amend your motion?
Yes. So I'm going to withdraw my motion, make a new motion that we, the select board approve the town of Sheffield policy authorizing the town administrator to sign the grant applications on behalf of the select board, and add a sentence at the end of the first paragraph. The select board also authorizes the town administrator to sign grant documentation post the grant application.
Is that good? Rhonda, will that do it?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, great. Okay, Bob, would you like to second that?
I will second.
Okay, so I think we've improved this. I think this is going to save us a lot of time. Roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. All right, we are getting close to finishing this USDA grant application. We have two of them. We do need a letter of support to go with these from the board, the select board. There are also letters of support that are coming in from the chief of police as well as the chief of the fire department. You will see that on one letter, the first one is for the police cruiser. Chief Munson is getting me an updated quote. We're going to do a 22 rather than a 21 a Dodge Durango because he feels that by the time we get this, which may be as early as August, the 21s are going to be gone. And also, Martin, I think, I'm trying to remember if were you, when we did the last cruiser, were you on the board?
Yes, I believe I was.
Okay, so the other thing that changed is that this is 75% of the cost, not up to $50,000. Now, the 21 Dodge Durango is coming in with all the stuff that goes with it at about $67,000, okay? So here's the letter, and then if you just scroll down a little bit, there's another letter, which is for the second application we're submitting, which is for an EMS rescue vehicle. This comes in at $52,756. So the application would be for close to $40,000, with the town picking up the remainder of $13,000. So I need to have the board consider two things tonight. Number one, whether we want to, which we need to do, submit a letter of support for these two grants application. But also, when I talked with Trish Anderson on Thursday, we need, because we are submitting two grants, we need to prioritize, and we need to say which is our first grant choice and which is our second. My feeling is we go for the largest amount of money, and the largest amount of money is going to be with the police vehicle because it comes in, basically about $30,000 higher it comes in about $15,000 higher than the EMS rescue. I will also let you know, while no promises were made, they were favorable on both of these grant applications. I'm not sure what that means, but they thought both of these were very solid applications, and it will depend on money. Okay, so let's take the letters first. Do you want to make any changes? Are you in support of these two letters as they're written?
Renee, it's Martin. I just have a question regarding the police USDA grant. So we don't know what the numbers are there yet and what the town would have to commit as its 25% share?
The last time the chief did it, it was with a 21. Exactly the same configuration. It was 67,000 and some change. I am expecting that the 22 may come in as much as 10% more. So I think maybe it will be up in the 70s. But he's been dogging them, and he just has not gotten it back from them. It's not going down. I know that much.
Well, yeah, that's what I would figure. So again, 70,000 is what you're thinking it might come in at?
Yes, I think it will come in at 70 to 72.
So that's $17,500 for a 25% Sheffield share.
Yes.
And then 13,000 for the 25% EMS vehicle share.
Yes.
So $30,000 in total. And Rhonda, how does that look with regard to the town being able, the select board being able to commit to that on behalf of the town?
Well, we'd have to put it into the new budget, Martin, and get that into some of the talks with finance.
Okay.
When the board previously approved going for these grants, I wasn't quite I guess I hadn't written these letters, and I think both parties would say that both of these vehicles are needed, and I'd rather us have to avoid paying at the full fare if we can.
Sure.
I'd make a motion that we approve both drafts.
I'll second that.
All right. Okay? So we have a motion to approve both draft letters. Any further discussion, and then we'll come back to prioritizing the letters or the grant request. So let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. So, very difficult. It's like choosing who's your favorite child. Which one of these I wouldn't ask for this if they had not specifically asked for this in our discussion last week, going over all the multiple pieces that have to be supplied with this grant, with both of these grant applications. Which project doesn't mean one's better than the other. It just means this is our number one priority in asking the USDA Rural Development Grant Fund for money, and which one is by default our second choice.
So this is Martin. I'll make a motion that we prioritize the police vehicle under the USDA grant application.
I would second that.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion on that? All right, then let's do a roll call vote on that. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Okay. Renee, aye. Thank you both. Let's just continue on grants. Our next item is a discussion possible action regarding it's now 4 one-stop grant applications, expressions of interest. Just as a quick reminder, and if I fall off because I'm getting close to 1 hour, I'll come back. But Martin you take over, please, as chair. The state earlier put 10 grant funds into a One Stop for Growth application template. They announced it. I've been working with Rhonda on this, and they are asking for what they call expressions of interest. This is a way that they can provide feedback on grant requests prior to the time that we would have to make a full application. I think it's a wonderful idea not to spend a lot of time if it's not appropriate, or find out areas in which we need to strengthen this application. So I am asking approval on 4. You'll see the first part of this is our applicant and our community back. It deals with the damage in the interior stairwell. That it just, you can read it. So I thought I'd see if we could get some money on this one because I don't know where else to get money. And then the fourth one, which Jill had sent out, is we unfortunately didn't get in the queue fast enough. The application was still up, but they had cut down. They had spent all their money. So our community compact best practices, 2 grants that we submitted, were denied because they have no money. And I thought, well, why not? Let's just see if we can get that capital improvement planning grant, to do all the capital asset listing, and then develop the depreciation schedules that we had wanted to get done to move forward both on GASB requirements as well as positioning ourselves for a possible loan. So those are the expressions of interest, and I just wanted to, if you want, we can put this off to our working meeting on the 25th. If you haven't had a chance to review it, the last thing I want to do is be just kind of, bringing this up and expecting an answer. If you are ready to make some comments, that would be great, whatever the board would wish to do.
Bob, do you want to go? Or?
Sure. It looks like it's been very thoroughly gone through. It looks like you've done a very good job at summarizing it. I'm pretty much for this as presented.
This is Martin. I second that. I'm in favor, I'll make a motion that the chair and Rhonda continue to work on the Community One Stop for Growth application template, so that has been described by Renee tonight.
And I'll second that. Uh-oh, did we lose Renee?
Yeah.
She knew it was coming.
Yeah. So if everybody would just bear with us, this is Martin Mitzoff. Due to technical difficulties, we all know that Renee gets put out of the meeting at about 1 hour's time based on her telephone service. She will be rejoining us shortly, but we have a motion and a second on the floor for the Community One Stop for Growth application initiative. May take her a couple of minutes to dial back in.
It took me 37 minutes to get in tonight, so just letting you know, and 5 attempts.
Sometimes this system can be very fickle.
I'm back.
You're back.
Hello.
So what did you all decide?
So we have a motion and a second for you and Rhonda to continue working with the Community One Stop for Growth expression of interest.
Well, thank you very much. Did you take a vote?
We have not taken a vote yet.
Okay, so Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. Thank you. COVID-19 update, Martin?
Just what we discussed earlier, Renee. I have nothing further to add at this stage. Have we lost either Rhonda or Jill?
No, I'm here.
Okay, good. I heard somebody pop off, but Jill,
Okay.
are you on still?
Yes, I am.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so let's go to board items. Martin?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Bob?
Nothing from me.
Okay, I just have a couple of items. I just want to let people know that the Hazardous Waste Collection Day is going to be on Saturday, May 15th. You can go to the town's website under Recycling and Solid Waste page to find the details of what you can bring, etc. And also, if you wish to pre-register, the phone number is there. It will be from 9 to 1 o'clock. Also, on the textile donations, I just want to let and shout out to Sheffield. 700 pounds it's close to 700 pounds were recycled in February. They have asked that people donating goods bag their goods either in paper or plastic, and just to make sure that everything stays nice and clean. And they have assured me that both plastic and paper bags are recycled. There's still time until, I believe, the end of this week to take out papers for any of the elected offices. You have to take them out by the 19th, by the time Town Hall closes at 4 o'clock, and bring them back on Monday the 22nd. So if you're interested in that, please give Phyllis C. Joyce, our town clerk, a call. We're also going to be having a townwide cleanup as part of Earth Day and Arbor Day. So that's going to be kind of the last week in April to the first part of May. But I'm noticing that people are already cleaning up the roads, and I want to thank you for that. If you need any yellow bags, please just give me a call, and I can get those for you. Or you can just use your regular trash bags, and that's it for me. Rhonda, town administrator items?
I don't have anything tonight, Renee. Thank you.
Okay. Public comment. Thank you for waiting so long. Is there any public comment tonight?
Yes, Bonnie Silvers, 15 Bow Wow Road. First, I'm so glad you selected my favorite 2 of Joe's pictures. He sends me photos from his walks every day. And about a month ago, I said, pick out some and submit them for the cover, and he didn't know anything about it. So I'm really happy. That's number one. Number two, I was one of the people and received so many letters and comments from people who last year was so disappointed that in the way our town meeting had to take place. And I would really love to advocate, based really on a lot of what Renee said, that we looked at the outdoor option. I know from friends in Great Barrington, it really, really went smoothly. And I know loads of people who are following the CDC guidelines, even with vaccines, older people who are not going out. And it's a shame that they will miss, because CDC says if it's not necessary, don't do it. And I know just based upon our district, there are people in not in substantial numbers who are not being vaccinated. So I would like you to, as our board, explore any possible ways to get the greatest amount of citizen participation in the safest way. And I don't consider bringing people in to our gym and the TAC pack as our only option. So thank you for listening. That's my comment.
Okay, thank you. Who's next?
Renee, Sari. Yes, Renee, Sari. Hi.
Okay, full name. Full name.
Oh, Sari, Holy 69th Street. The hazardous waste collection, is it actually in Sheffield? I thought that it was in Lee. I don't know if you said that.
But
it is in Lee. Okay.
But it's open. Sheffield pays for it, and it's open to all residents, whether you're a transfer station user or not. So, we only have 2 a year, and this is, I think the one on the 15th is a big one. So just go on the website, it gives you the complete list.
Okay, so we will not have one actually in Sheffield.
We haven't for years.
Okay.
We haven't for years. Rhonda, Rhonda, did you want to add anything to that?
We normally have it's either in Lee or Great Barrington, which have the bigger facilities and are able to handle that better. So for years, it's been either at one or the other.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anyone else on public comment?
Hi, it's Lauren Hyde, 535 Telegraph Road. Hi there. I just wanted to sort of express my frustration with freeconferencecall.com. I have, as you know, been more present these last few months here, and I tried to get on 5 times and was unable to get into the meeting tonight. I finally got in at 7:27. I know other people from my neighborhood who were also wanting to listen in who had issues. I told them to email Rhonda. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. But I missed the whole part about, opening of the building because I was not able, I got there right at the end. So I'm experiencing quite a bit of frustration and we're trying to get something done over here, and trying to get the information is not that easy right now with the building being closed and with this format. So I just needed to express that. I expressed it the other night on the planning board meeting when I got cut off of there twice. Renee, you get cut off every time at an hour. It's really not accessible, to be completely honest with you. So I just needed to make that public comment.
Okay, we will look into that. I know that Martin has found. Martin, do you want to speak to your solution?
Well, I'm not sure what it is.
It's to use a cell phone.
Well, yeah. What I know from experience is that if you have a copper landline with preconferencecall.com, you almost always get through on the first try. I also appreciate that not every resident has a copper landline. Lord knows they're extremely expensive these days anyway. A cell phone is an alternative depending upon whether you have cell phone coverage in your immediate vicinity or not, good cell phone coverage. I do take to heart what Lauren is saying and what we've experienced here very recently, and I think the select board should look into other alternatives.
That's basically.
We have a pretty big meeting coming up in just a few days, and I'm worried about the access for the people who are going to want to call in. I don't have a copper line anymore. We just got rid of the copper, but I tried on my Spectrum phone and then tried on my cell phone, which has very bad service at my house. Every time I drive in and out of my driveway, it drops, which is unfortunate for me, but it's just not. I never call anyone from my cell phone at my house. It's not a good connection. So
I'm the same, Lauren, so I understand. Isn't the Thursday night meeting also by Zoom?
No, I asked, and it's too late, and it's this format. So no, it's this format.
Okay.
Lauren, I'm going to thank you for your comments, and I don't know if there's going to be anything that we can do before Thursday's planning board meeting, but we certainly have heard you, and I find that it is. I have the best success. I was late tonight because I was doing something. I find the best I get in. There is the issue of getting dropped out if you're Spectrum. But I also find I can usually get in again. The best thing to do is, and I know it's hokey, but call about 5 to 6 minutes before the call begins. Right. And they will put you in hold. And usually when I do that, I can get in on the first time. And then I just have to wait. But we're going to look into this.
Yeah, this was the first call right in. Like a little bit later because I saw the agenda and didn't like.
Yeah, if you wait until very close to the hour, it's just, it's not going to work. But that would be my tip. And again, we look into this and thank you for your comments. Okay, who's next?
Renee, can I respond also a little bit to Lauren? Sure. Lauren, Barry Boyce at the Main Street. What I was asking Laurie in Town Hall was how you guys did it differently than us, because we found, I can't do anything about the connection, but Lauren was also having trouble actually hearing, especially George and myself. And what we found was that we don't use a cell phone, we just use that little, the Wi-Fi thing that sits in the center. Yeah, the device, yes. And so I am going to suggest that we do what you guys do, which is, I guess do you just have it as a cell phone as well as that device, or?
We don't use the device at all. We don't use the device. The Selectboard. Okay. No, we all call in via conference call, and someone's got to be the meeting leader. In our case, it's Rhonda and Jill. And we all just are speaking on phone. We do not use that device because we do not meet in person. The board does not meet in person. We all call in.
So we meet in person, the board, our board. But,
yes, and so you all need to kind of sort that out. And I appreciate your attention to it, as I'm sure everyone does.
It's really frustrating for everybody if you can't hear.
Yes.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak under public comments? All right. If not, may I have a motion for adjournment? And
this is Martin. I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Okay, Bob, would you like to second that?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. right. Thank you all for joining us this evening, and have a pleasant night. Bye bye.
That's all.
Bye bye.
Good night.
Good night.